Grey's Anatomy fans are seeing a noticeable shift in season 22 as the long-running ABC medical drama implements behind-the-scenes budget cuts that are impacting its cast. One of the show's most beloved characters, Dr. Amelia Shepherd, has temporarily stepped away from Grey Sloan Memorial Hospital, and it's not just a creative choice. In the second episode of season 22, Amelia announces she's taking a sabbatical following the emotional fallout of last season's explosive hospital hostage crisis. The traumatic event, tied to one of her patients, left Amelia struggling, ultimately prompting her to step back from medicine. While the storyline fits organically, Deadline reports that the move also allows actress Katerina Scorson to take an extended hiatus due to cost-cutting measures. According to sources, Scorson will be absent for 8 episodes, with Amelia expected to return in 2026. Grey's Anatomy has reduced guaranteed episode appearances for its veteran cast, shrinking minimums from 18 to 14 episodes per season. For the 2025 to 2026 season, Scorson will appear in just 10 episodes due to Amelia's sabbatical, a reduction limited to this season only. Scorson has portrayed Amelia Shepherd since season 7, following her introduction on Private Practice. The character has become a fan favorite thanks to her surgical brilliance, complex emotional journey, and deeply personal struggles with addiction and grief. Meanwhile, the Grey's Anatomy family continues to show real-life support for former star Eric Dane, who revealed his ALS diagnosis in 2025. Cast members including Ellen Pompeo, Patrick Dempsey, Kate Walsh, and Chandra Wilson have spoken out with heartfelt messages, praising Dane's courage and commitment to raising awareness about the disease. Hey, lovely viewers, welcome to our channel Grey's Anatomy Official. Grey's Anatomy star leaving series through 2026 due to budget cuts. The Grey's Anatomy cast is temporarily shrinking. One of the medical drama's recurring characters opted for a sabbatical on the October 16th episode, paving the way for the actress's hiatus. This is the result of a cost-cutting measure that has become more common in long-running shows like Grey's Anatomy. The Grey's Anatomy cast is temporarily shrinking. 2 episodes into Grey's Anatomy's new season 22, one of the series' regulars is taking a short break, fans learned on Thursday, October 16th. Season 21 of the long-running ABC medical drama ended with a bang, literally, when a catastrophic explosion at the hospital, which was the result of a hostage situation, left the lives of several doctors in danger. The impact of the blast is still being felt by the characters this season. Amelia Shepherd, Katerina Scorson, whose patient was responsible for the explosion, required an intervention from Meredith Grey, Ellen Pompeo, and Maggie Pierce, Kelly McCreary. Still, the trauma of the explosion was ultimately too much for her to bear, and season 22's second episode saw Amelia announce she's taking a sabbatical. Amelia's sabbatical provides an opportunity for Scorson's role to be put on hiatus, per Deadline. Sources told the publication that the actress' absence will stretch across the next 8 episodes, with Amelia eventually returning in 2026. For the 2024-25 season, Grey's Anatomy employed a cost-cutting measure that's become more common in long-running shows of its kind, reducing the minimum guarantees for its long-standing cast members. The show shrunk series regulars' guarantees from 18 to 14 episodes per season, Deadline reported previously. The same measure is in effect for Grey's Anatomy's 2025-2026 season, per the outlet, with the exception of Scorson, 44, who will be featured in 10 out of the 18 episodes due to her character's sabbatical. The decrease in Scorson's screen time only extends to the current season, however, sources told Deadline. Scorson joined the show in 2010 for season 7, following her role in the medical drama's spin-off, Private Practice. Her role as Amelia, sister to the late Derek Shepherd, Patrick Dempsey, and sister-in-law to Meredith, is marked by her ambition as a doctor, plus her recovery from drug addiction and emotional trauma. Everything the Grey's Anatomy cast has said about Eric Dane's battle with ALS. The Grey's Anatomy cast has Eric Dane's back as he continues his battle with ALS. After appearing in more than 140 episodes of the ABC drama as Dr. Mark Sloan, Dane said goodbye to Grey Sloan Memorial Hospital in 2012. But ever since the actor announced his ALS diagnosis in April 2025, many of Dane's Grey's Anatomy co-stars including Ellen Pompeo and Patrick Dempsey have shared support and encouragement to the actor. I spoke to him a few weeks ago. I've been texting with him, Dempsey told Parade in January 2026. We were trying to get him in Memory of a Killer, but unfortunately, the progression of his disease made it virtually impossible. But I was happy to see that he was here in Toronto working on, I think, another medical drama. Although Dane has tried to limit his number of appearances because of his health, the actor wants to share his story in hopes that it raises awareness about the progressive neurodegenerative disease. Obviously, I have a family at home and they're the first priority, Dane shared in December 2025 during a virtual I Am ALS event. But this is such a big deal to me to make sure that people are aware of what ALS is and what it's about and, more importantly, what we can do to combat it and improve the landscape. Keep reading to see how Dane's Grey's Anatomy family has supported the actor since his diagnosis. Ellen Pompeo reflected on working with Eric Dane during Season 2 of Grey's Anatomy in a pre-taped message shared at the ALS Network Champions for Cures and Care Gala attendees in January 2026. Dane was expected to attend the event but dropped out at the last minute. I remember when he came in as McSteamy and us having instant electric chemistry, and I immediately just fell in love with him, Pompeo said. The actress then recalled learning about Dane's ALS battle. As soon as I heard about his diagnosis, I texted him, and I said, "I'm here if you want to speak," Pompeo said. And my phone rang 30 seconds later. She remembered telling Dane on that phone call that she would be there to help him with whatever you need, however I can help. I love you. I'm really proud of you, Pompeo continued in her video. I love you so much and I am honored to get to speak about you today. Kate Walsh. Although Kate Walsh hasn't been in touch with Eric Dane, she has reached out and sent my love and support and strength. It's so heartbreaking. He's such a beautiful person and such an incredible man, and I've had other friends that have battled with this disease, and it's just horrific, she told Variety in January 2026. So my heart goes out to him. I keep him, his family, his girls, in my prayers. Walsh acknowledged that her Grey's character, Addison, will forever be intertwined with Mark. That's why it's so heartbreaking to me, she added. So emotional. Patrick Dempsey. Patrick Dempsey offered a glimpse into Eric Dane's mindset as he navigates ALS. It's very hard for him, but I do try to stay in touch and see how he's doing, Dempsey shared with Parade in January 2026. I think he's been incredibly courageous in the face of this horrible disease. He's such a wonderful human being. He has such a great sense of humor, and he's so intelligent. I've always enjoyed working and being around Eric. Dempsey added that the situation is heartbreaking and it's impossible not to empathize. You feel for them when you see this terrible disease and how quickly it attacks the body, he explained. But he's bringing a lot of light to that, and he's using his platform in a positive way. I wish him the best. Chandra Wilson. OG Grey's Anatomy actress Chandra Wilson still laughs when recalling an unforgettable scene in Season 3 when Eric Dane earned the nickname of Dr. McSteamy after stepping out of a shower. Agreeing to stand there in the towel and the steam, Wilson recalled to Access Hollywood in October 2025. Everybody doesn't agree to do it and he was down for it. Memorable scenes aside, Wilson pointed out that the cast stands with Dane during his health struggle. The main thing that people talk about around here is that sense of family, she shared. We're going to be that no matter what. Ellen Pompeo reveals private chat she had with Grey's Anatomy co-star Eric Dane after ALS diagnosis. They stole hearts as Meredith Grey and Mark McSteamy Sloan on Grey's Anatomy, but their friendship carried on off-screen too. Ellen Pompeo has gone on to reveal how co-star Eric Dane called her 30 seconds after she texted him following the announcement of his ALS diagnosis. More than 2 decades has passed since the duo first appeared on screen together, with Eric joining the Grey's Anatomy cast for Season 2 back in 2006. Ellen has been paying tribute to her colleague and praising him in a recorded message, which was played out at the ALS Network Champions for Cures and Care Gala on January 24. He revealed he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, in 2025, which in the UK is often referred to as motor neuron disorder, MND. The actor said he was grateful to have my loving family by my side as we navigate this next chapter. I remember when he came in as McSteamy and us having instant electric chemistry, and I immediately just fell in love with him, Ellen said in her message. Ellen shared what happened following his news. As soon as I heard about his diagnosis, I texted him, and I said, "I'm here if you want to speak," and my phone rang 30 seconds later. She said she would help him with whatever you need, however I can help. I love you. Addressing Dane, she said, "I'm really proud of you, I love you so much and I am honored to get to speak about you today." Speaking on a panel hosted by I Am ALS in December, he said he believes it is imperative that I share my journey with as many people as I can, and to use his platform and status for good, despite confessing he is selfish. He said, "I don't feel like my life is about me anymore. It's something I've had to wrestle with, because I'm a pretty selfish person, and I would love my life to be all about me, but I just can't. I want to make sure that people are aware of what ALS is and, more importantly, what we can do to combat it and improve the landscape." Another co-star, Patrick Dempsey, has also been texting Eric and offering support following that heartbreaking news. Patrick told Parade, "I think he's been incredibly courageous in the face of this horrible disease. He's such a wonderful human being. It's heartbreaking. It really is. For him and for his family. You feel for them when you see this terrible disease and how quickly it attacks the body. But he's bringing a lot of light to that, and he's using his platform in a positive way. I wish him the best." What is ALS? ALS or MND is a degenerative condition which, according to the NHS, causes muscle weakness which worsens over time. Sadly, it is usually life-shortening and there currently is no cure for the condition, but treatment can help with the symptoms. Symptoms include stiff or weak hands, problems gripping things. Weak legs and feet, first signs include tripping up stairs or difficulty raising your foot. Twitches, spasms or muscle cramps. It can impact any age, but usually people are over 50 when they receive a diagnosis. Grey's Anatomy star Eric Dane reveals he has been diagnosed with ALS. Grey's Anatomy star Eric Dane has revealed that he's been diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. Dane, who starred on the hit ABC medical drama as Dr. Mark Sloan, opened up to people about the condition, which is a type of motor neuron disease which sees muscle weakness in the arms and legs that can cause you to trip and drop things. "I have been diagnosed with ALS," the 52-year-old actor shared to People. "I am grateful to have my loving family by my side as we navigate this next chapter." Dane, who shares 2 children, Billy Beatrice, 15, and Georgia Geraldine, 13, with his wife Rebecca Gayhart, continued, "I feel fortunate that I am able to continue working and am looking forward to returning to set of Euphoria next week. I kindly ask that you give my family and I privacy during this time." Dane portrays the Jacobs family patriarch in the teen drama series, which is set to begin production of the 3rd season next week, April 14th. There is currently no cure for ALS, and people diagnosed with the condition usually live 3 to 5 years after diagnosis, according to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. However, with that said, some patients can live for decades. The Mayo Clinic explains that, while ALS often begins with muscle twitching and weakness in an arm or leg, trouble swallowing or slurred speech, it can eventually affect control of the muscles needed to move, speak, eat, and breathe. Fans of Grey's Anatomy will remember when his character, Dr. Mark Sloan, was put on life support following a pretty devastating plane crash in the season 8 finale. While many viewers hoped the whole ordeal was nothing but a fever dream, they were soon met with the reality that he'd been killed off after the character succumbed to his injuries and died peacefully with his friends by his side in the season 9 premiere. Instead, he claims he was probably fired from the TV show by producers in 2012, speaking out on his exit in a bombshell interview. During an appearance on the Armchair Expert podcast last year, Dane, who starred on the show for 6 seasons from 2006 to 2012, claimed, "I didn't leave so much as I think I was let go." Podcast host Dax Shepard then went on to ask the actor about his prior struggles with both drugs and alcohol addiction, and whether or not they affected his exit. "I was struggling," Dane replied, adding, "They didn't let me go because of that, although it definitely didn't help." In fact, he alluded to the possibility that, having become one of Grey's Anatomy's most in-demand actors, he'd simply become too expensive. "I was starting to become, as most of these actors who have spent significant time on the show, you start to become very expensive for the network," Dane explained. "And the network knows that the show is going to do what it's going to do irrespective of who they keep on it, as long as they have their Grey they were fine." Grey's Anatomy actor Eric Dane sparks concern after Emmy's absence amid heartbreaking health update. Eric Dane fans have expressed concern after the Grey's Anatomy star was absent from the 2025 Emmy Awards last night, Sunday, September 14th. The 52-year-old actor was scheduled to appear on stage with his former co-star Jesse Williams for a special segment to celebrating 20 years of Shonda Rhimes' fictional medical TV show. However, he pulled out for an undisclosed reason, with Williams presenting the award for directing for a drama series on his own, with no mention of the ABC series. On the red carpet earlier in the day, Williams, who played Jackson Avery in the series, told Entertainment Tonight that Dane is solid, and we need to take care of ourselves, when asked how his co-star inspires him after Dane's recent ALS diagnosis. Williams said, "I had a really wonderful time working with Eric, in particular. But the show has just had and continues to have a really remarkable, emotional, intellectual impact on people all over the globe." Speaking of Dane, who played iconic character Dr. Mark Sloan between 2006 and 2012, Williams added, "He's solid. The man's just solid, and we have to be careful as men to take care of ourselves, and he's got a perfect balance going." Dane broke the news of his diagnosis of ALS back in April of this year, which stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, but is sometimes known as Lou Gehrig's disease. ALS is the most common type of MND, motor neuron disease, and early symptoms are muscle weakness in the arms and legs that can cause you to trip and drop things, as per the NHS. It's a rare degenerative disease that sadly worsens over time, something Dane has previously spoken out about. In a heartbreaking interview in June, the actor revealed that the entire right side of his body that has been most severely affected by his diagnosis. Breaking down in tears, he told journalist Diane Sawyer during an appearance on Good Morning America, "My left side is functioning, my right side has completely stopped working. I feel like maybe a couple more months, and I won't have my left hand either. It's sobering." He went on to admit that he's also worried about ALS taking hold of his legs, after realizing he could tragically no longer swim. Dane recalled a moment during a boat trip with one of his daughters, where he jumped in and quickly came to the conclusion it was not safe to do so. "I realized in the moment that I'm not safe in the water anymore," the actor continued. "She dragged me back to the boat, and I was breaking down in tears." Now, after his surprise absence from the awards ceremony and the Grey's Anatomy tribute no longer going ahead, fans have expressed worry about the actor on social media. One user wrote on Twitter, "The fact that Eric Dane didn't show up makes me sad and worried for him tbh." While a second penned, "Hope Eric Dane is doing well since he didn't end up showing up at the Emmys." And a third wrote, "I hope Eric Dane is well. He was scheduled to present with Jesse Williams. I thought Eric Dane was presenting with Jesse? Hope he's okay, #Emmys," added another social media user. While someone else chimed in with, "Where is Eric Dane? I will not fall asleep until I see him #Emmys." Tyla has contacted a representative for Eric Dane for comment. Grey's Anatomy star Eric Dane makes inspiring move just 4 days after revealing ALS diagnosis. Just yesterday, April 10th, it was announced that Grey's Anatomy star Eric Dane has been diagnosed with a rare degenerative disease, ALS. Speaking exclusively to People in an article published Thursday, Dane, who starred on the hit ABC medical drama as Dr. Mark Sloan, shared, "I have been diagnosed with ALS." The 52-year-old actor, who shares 2 children, Billy Beatrice, 15, and Georgia Geraldine, 13, with his wife Rebecca Gayhart, continued, "I am grateful to have my loving family by my side as we navigate this next chapter." While he may be best known as McSteamy on Grey's Anatomy, Dane also stars as the Jacobs family patriarch in the popular teen drama series, Euphoria. The Sam Levinson-created TV show, which also stars the likes of Zendaya, Alexa Demie, Sydney Sweeney, Barbie Ferreira, Hunter Schafer, Maude Apatow, and Jacob Elordi, is set to begin production of the 3rd season in a few days' time, April 14th. In his interview to People, Dane added, "I feel fortunate that I am able to continue working and am looking forward to returning to set of Euphoria next week. I kindly ask that you give my family and I privacy during this time." ALS, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, is a type of motor neuron disease which sees muscle weakness in the arms and legs that can cause you to trip and drop things. While symptoms of ALS differ from person to person, as they depend on which nerve cells are affected, ALS usually starts with muscle weakness that spreads and worsens as time goes on. According to the Mayo Clinic, other symptoms might include hand weakness or clumsiness, slurred speech, or trouble swallowing and thinking, or behavioral changes. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, states that although no one knows the cause of ALS for sure, reports suggest that less than 30,000 people in the United States have ALS. There is currently no cure for ALS, and people diagnosed with the condition usually live 3 to 5 years after diagnosis, according to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. However, with that said, some patients can live for decades. ALS disease explained as Grey's Anatomy star Eric Dane reveals first symptom he experienced before shock diagnosis. Grey's Anatomy star Eric Dane has recently opened up about the very first symptom he experienced before receiving his diagnosis of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. Dane, who starred on the hit ABC medical drama as Dr. Mark Sloan, spoke about his health journey after first being diagnosed with ALS back in April on Good Morning America earlier this week, where he told Diane Sawyer that he now only has one functioning arm. "My left side is functioning, my right side has completely stopped working," the Euphoria star explained, noting that his left arm has been getting weaker as well. "I feel like maybe a couple more months and I won't have my left hand either. It's sobering." Dane walked his first red carpet since his diagnosis on Wednesday, June 18, for the premiere of his show Countdown, revealing that he is currently prepping for the third season of Euphoria and is determined to keep acting despite his health issues. He told Variety, "It always feels great to be on a set. It's great to be employed. I love what I give. I'm going to keep doing it." What is ALS? ALS, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, is a type of motor neuron disease which sees muscle weakness in the arms and legs that can cause you to trip and drop things. It is also often called Lou Gehrig's disease, after the baseball player who was diagnosed with it. What are the symptoms of ALS? While symptoms of ALS differ from person to person, as they depend on which nerve cells are affected, ALS usually starts with muscle weakness that spreads and worsens as time goes on. According to the Mayo Clinic, other symptoms might include trouble walking or doing usual daily activities, tripping and falling, weakness in the legs, feet or ankles, hand weakness or clumsiness, slurred speech or trouble swallowing, weakness associated with muscle cramps and twitching in the arms, shoulders, and tongue, untimely crying, laughing, or yawning, thinking or behavioral changes. What was Eric Dane's first symptom of ALS? While he was first diagnosed with ALS a few months back, Dane first started having symptoms a year and a half ago when he began to experience weakness in his right hand. Speaking to Sawyer during the interview, Dane recalled, "I didn't really think anything of it at the time. I thought maybe I'd been texting too much or my hand was fatigued, but a few weeks later I noticed it got a little worse. So I went and saw a hand specialist, who sent me to another hand specialist. I went and saw a neurologist and the neurologist sent me to another neurologist and said, 'This is way above my pay grade.'" "I will never forget those 3 letters, Dane said. "It's on me the second I wake up. It's not a dream." The actor began to tear up when praising his wife, Rebecca Gayheart, with whom he shares 2 daughters. "We have managed to become better friends and better parents," he gushed. "She is probably my biggest champion and my most stalwart supporter, and I lean on her. I was heartbroken." While he still has the ability to walk, Dane also opened up about the concerns surrounding the functionality in his legs, sharing a particularly alarming experience snorkeling with his daughter where he realized he didn't have enough energy to swim, prompting his daughter to rescue him out the water. "She dragged me back to the boat," Dane said. "I was like, breaking down in tears. I made sure she got back to the water with her friend and continued on with the snorkeling. I was just heartbroken." Dane added that he is very angry about the diagnosis due to losing his own father when he was just 7 years old to suicide. What is the cause of ALS? The Mayo Clinic explains that, for about 10% of people with ALS, a genetic cause can be identified. However, for the rest, the cause is not known. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, states that although no one knows for sure, reports suggest that less than 30,000 people in the United States have ALS. Is there a cure for ALS? There is currently no cure for ALS, and people diagnosed with the condition usually live 3 to 5 years after diagnosis, according to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. However, with that said, some patients can live for decades. Grey's Anatomy is Season 22, Episode 10 Recap, Amelia's Return and Addison's Crisis. The reunion leads to a heated confrontation and a shocking reveal. This story contains spoilers from Grey's Anatomy, Season 22, Episode 10. Grey's Anatomy saw the return of two fan-favorite doctors in Thursday's new episode, and one of them is here to stay. Episode 10, titled Strip That Down, followed as the anticipated return of Dr. Addison Montgomery. Kate Walsh also made way for Dr. Amelia Shepard, Katerina Scorsone, to cut her sabbatical short to consult on a case with her former sister-in-law and Los Angeles colleague. Behind the scenes, the episode marked Scorsone's comeback after taking an 8-episode break from the series due to budget trims on the long-running ABC medical drama. Luckily, Addison's visit to Seattle brought a new patient Amelia couldn't refuse, despite her initial desire to blow her off for a cookie recipe she was trying out at home. But it wasn't all about happy reunions, as Addison had her own shocking reveal to share before the end of the eventful episode. Your official Grey's Anatomy recap, Season 22, Episode 10. This week, Grey's Anatomy tackles some very serious subject matter, work safety issues in strip clubs. There is a lot of baby oil on those stages, people. Okay, while a Strip That Down does feature a lubed-up stripper named Jeff and his dislocated hip, it does take a more serious turn as it tackles just a small percent of the fallout from the current federal administration's policies when it comes to science and medicine. We get a look at how some of those policies affect the lives of both patients and their doctors. Also, not to mention, there's the return of the prodigal doctor Dr. Addison Montgomery. But also, there are body roles. Multiple body roles. It's all about balance, people, in stripping, in life, and in episodes of Grey's Anatomy. Let's recap. Hold the cheesecake. This Katie with the gastric cancer storyline has been a roller coaster from the beginning, but what plays out in this week's episode will really take your emotions for a spin. Things start out great. Lucas and Bailey are beyond thrilled to meet up with Katie, who's waiting for her next infusion as part of her clinical trial, and that is because they have good news to share. Since Katie began the trial, her tumors have shrunk 30%. The medicine is working. It is a very good day. Bailey has to head out on a trial of Owen's EMT ride-along program, and she leaves Lucas and Ben to take care of whatever Katie needs that day. Riding the high of the tumor-shrinking news, Lucas pushes Katie to book a flight to New York to finally get a taste of the perfect cheesecake. Now that her future looks bright and, more importantly, like it could last much longer than anticipated, she starts wishing and hoping and planning for what's next. She can start seeing clients in person again. She can live a full life. But it's all too good to be true. Ben gets an email informing him and the hospital that Katie's trial has been cancelled. The infusion of meds she's getting today is her last. When Ben calls Bailey with the news, she's sitting in the back of the ambulance with Owen, Quan, the EMTs, and a young patient who fell during cheerleading practice who is just about to go into respiratory arrest. Bailey is beside herself with anger at the news, and she lets that anger get the best of her. The entire point of this ride-along program Owen wants to implement for the residents is to not only learn about acting quickly on their feet but also to adapt their medical skills to what works best out in the field. When it's clear that the patient, Rosie, has a tension pneumothorax, the standard protocol in the ambulance would be to perform a needle decompression to release the trapped air in her chest. In the hospital, they'd place a chest tube. Quan has issues getting the needle decompression to do much of anything, but instead of waiting until they get to the hospital, they aren't far at this point. Bailey jumps in to perform a finger thoracostomy. Owen tries to stop her, performing a procedure like that isn't the priority in this instance or this setting. Bailey continues anyway. If she can save this girl's life, she is going to do it the best way she knows how. You can see the through line. Later, Bailey apologizes to Owen and tells him about Katie and the cancelled trial. She tells him how during her own residency she treated Katie's grandmother for gastric cancer too, and the grandmother died under her care. Katie might suffer the same fate. In the ambulance, with all that weighing on her, she needed to feel like she could actually do something to help a patient. She didn't mean to step on Owen's toes. And she's approving his idea for a 6-month program anyway. She's a big fan. It's a nicer ending for Owen and his residency program than it is for sweet Katie. When Bailey gets back to the hospital, she finds Ben and Lucas and rages again when she hears more details about the cancellation of the trial. The party line may be that the trial no longer aligns with the centers who are running it, but Bailey knows that's code for the government revoked funding. They pulled the plug on the money and left everyone on that trial to fend for themselves. It's Bailey who has to tell Katie the news. It's a heartbreaking scene. Katie has finished her infusion, and she's taking a call from a client, promising to see them in person next time. She looks energized and excited about what's next. And then, she sees Bailey's face. She begs Bailey to tell her that the face she's making is not about her. When she hears that the trial is cancelled, she wants to know if that means the tumors will grow back. Bailey doesn't know. She is so sorry. Katie sobs in Bailey's arms. She finally had hope for a future, and it was erased, just like that. It is gutting. Lucas can't even stand to watch. Bailey promises Katie that she will do everything she can to find another way, but even Bailey knows she may simply be powerless in this situation. Never stop grinding. Okay, now that we've all gotten a good cry out, let's bring out the strippers. We need them right now. We deserve them. Immediately following Simone trying to tell her sex friend Wes that at work he needs to take her, their job, and the fact that she's his boss seriously, 2 greased-up strippers carry in a 3rd greased-up stripper who slipped on the pole while performing and dislocated his hip. His name is Jeff. His passion is making people happy via body rolls. It's Link's first day back at work following his near-death incident with the explosion in the ore, and our ortho god is in a great mood because Winston just gave Joe the all-good sign and she can finally go home. Even better? They get the word that the twins can go home too. All Lincoln Wilsons will be out of the hospital by the end of the day. On top of that, Link's just happy to finally get back to work. And his first responsibility upon his return? Popping Jeff's hip back into its socket. It sounds like a pretty easy gig, especially for someone like Link, but things get complicated. Between all the body oil on Jeff, the severity of the dislocation, and Link's definitely still not fully healed shoulder, Link not only can't pop the hip back into place but hurts both Jeff and himself while trying. He covers it up pretty well, but Simone can tell something is up with Link. She keeps it to herself while she tries to assess the situation, which is a very professional move, something she wishes Wes might absorb a little better. Instead, she has to watch the man who just serviced her in the shower that morning showboat and suck up to Link in order to get his attention. He thinks she should understand wanting to get noticed, since she herself was just an intern, but she tells him she didn't need to suck up, she used her skills to stand out. Simone doesn't need to tell us how she became the one to watch, we saw those skills in action, and we see them again in this episode too. Eventually, they need to take Jeff to the OR to fix his hip. It should be easy once they get in there, but once again, Link is having issues moving the joint, and again Simone notices him favoring his injured shoulder. Instead of calling him out, she asks if she can give the procedure a try since she's never seen one. She gets the hip back into place with no problem. She asks if she can complete the procedure, since she's already there. Link is more than happy to guide her through it. Neither of them talks directly about Link's injury or the extra help he needed in there, but they don't have to. Jeff walks away with a fixed hip and encouragement to grind another day. Link finishes his first day back with a win, and he is quick to commend Simone for her work in the OR. She impressed him with her skills, both her surgical ones and interpersonal ones, I'd imagine. Link takes the whole ordeal as a sign to really let himself heal. He decides that instead of coming back so soon, he'll take his parental leave at the same time as Joe. The family of 6 will all be home together for the first time and for the foreseeable future. Simone ends the day annoyed that Wes is frustrated with her for stealing his thunder with Lincoln. How can she explain to him that she knows more than he does on so many levels? That is how it is at work, she's his boss, and if he can't handle that or can't respect that boundary, this isn't going to work. But don't worry, it doesn't take long for Wes to make his way over to Simone's to apologize and prove that he thinks powerful women like her are very, very sexy, by way of a private strip show for Simone. And honestly, Jeff was right when he told Wes he could have a career as a stripper. You know, just in case the surgery stuff doesn't work out. Addison's back. Addison Montgomery makes her triumphant return to Grace Sloan Memorial this week and drags Amelia out of her sabbatical and back to work to boot. Okay, well, that part of Addison's return is triumphant, but otherwise Addison is an absolute mess. Even she refers to herself as a dumpster fire. She isn't wrong. Ostensibly, Addison is back to make Amelia help her with a beloved patient, Emma, who is 5 months pregnant and suffering from terrible headaches, which turn out to be from a dangerous brain tumor that ruptures while Emma is getting an MRI. Amelia was happy to do the initial scans for her pal, but she really doesn't want to get back into surgery yet. Addison blurts out that her husband, Jake, is leaving her and begs Amelia to just do this one thing for her and for Emma. The emotional manipulation works, and they rush into the OR. While Addison is clear that she does not want to discuss her personal life any further, the turmoil is taking a toll on her. She doesn't seem to be herself even before they get into the OR, and when Emma's blood pressure starts dropping, instead of letting Amelia take her time to figure out what is going on, since she is the one inside Emma's brain and all, she screams at her. Amelia brings Emma back and kicks Addison out of the operating room. Emma will be just fine, and thanks to a quick pep talk from Richard Weber, who is still at home recovering, Addison and Amelia's friendship will be salvaged too. Richard tells Addie to let go of her pride and apologize. After all, it's the least Amelia deserves. She finds her friend outside and does exactly that. She tells her what's going on with Jake, that while he originally was so supportive of Addison's work traveling around to states with abortion bans and helping those lacking proper reproductive health care, recently he's changed. He barely calls, and when he does, it's to complain about what's happening at home and about how when Addison is home, she is barely there mentally. He wants her to give it up and come home. He wants her to make a choice between her work and her family. She just cannot give up the work, though. Nothing is what it used to be, she laments to Amelia. I don't even recognize science anymore, she adds, referring to the bans, cutbacks, and disinformation campaigns coming from our own government. She cannot just sit on the sidelines and do nothing. Amelia notes that if Jake is resorting to ultimatums, something was probably already fundamentally wrong between them. It's certainly not the most optimistic advice, but it does help Addison begin to come to terms with what's happening and with her decision to keep on fighting the good fight. Tonight on ABC, their hit drama Grey's Anatomy returns with an all-new Thursday, January 29, 2026, Season 22 Episode 10, and we have your Grey's Anatomy recap below. In tonight's Grey's Anatomy Season 22 Episode 10 called Strip That Down, as per the ABC synopsis, Addison Montgomery returns to Grace Sloan, seeking assistance with a patient with a neurological condition. Bailey joins Owen and Blue on a paramedic ride-along. We are so excited for another season of Grey's Anatomy, so make sure to bookmark this spot and come back from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time for our Grey's Anatomy recap. While you wait for the recap, make sure to check out all our Grey's Anatomy recaps, spoilers, news and more, right here. Tonight's Grey's Anatomy recap begins now. Refresh page often to get the most current updates. In tonight's Grey's Anatomy recap, the interns thought they would have an easy day. Lucas had some good news to share. His patient's tumor was reducing by 30% and it looked like her treatment was working. Quan was doing a ride along with both Owen and Bailey. They were going to be offering first-star treatment in the field. Jules thought she would be the outlier with a rough day because even Simone was having a great situationship with her new intern. The same goes for Quan with Mohunty. Only in his case, he learned the hard way that she was seeing other people. She was vegan and she was ordering food with meat in it at 2 in the morning. It seems it wasn't just Quan she was buying breakfast for. Simone also learned that Wes was rarely serious at work. He constantly kept trying to get her into an empty bed in the on-call room. Somehow was still thinking about that after badging a 92-year-old Payne with a gaping wound. Lucas's day even went down the drain. His miracle patient was given bad news. Katie's tumors were shrinking and it technically didn't matter because the clinical trial she's in wants to shut down. They were just going to cut the patients loose. And this was after she celebrated. Katie thought her tumors were shrinking so she wanted to try the best cheesecake in the world. She was going to go to a place in Seattle. Lucas convinced her to try juniors in New York. He told her it would be for a weekend. It was supposed to be a quick trip to celebrate her possibly living. She then gets told the clinical trial was coming to an end and that she was going to die from cancer. Jules's day actually took a turn for the better. Dr. Addison Montgomery came back to town to drag Amelia back to the hospital. Amelia was on sabbatical. She needed it after a rough call. She was mostly staying at home and baking. So, Addison dragged into work. Addison had a patient that was 5 months along. She's been having headaches. It turns out she had a tumor. It's grown rapidly since she got pregnant. The hormones from the pregnancy was what made it such a problem now. It was right behind her eyes. It caused Emma to lose vision, and that's when the tumor ruptured. She had to be rushed into surgery. And Addison made sure it was Amelia doing it. Addison got Amelia to do it by saying Jake was leaving her. Jake wanted Addison to give up the PRT. He was tired of her being on the road and he wanted her to come home. Addison didn't believe a marriage could survive demands. And that's what Jake was doing. He was issuing a demand to get his way. She either follows orders or loses her family. He didn't see how important this was all to Addison. She was helping women all across the country and Jake didn't care. He just wants her home. There's been no mention of what will happen to Henry in all of this. It made Addison testy and Amelia had to kick her out of the OR. Addison left, but she had to call Richard. She needed someone on her side and Richard was there for her. He said the first step was always the hardest. Especially when it came to an apology. Addison was figuring that part out while Bailey broke the news to Katie herself. Bailey's ride-along had ended with 2 injured cheerleaders. They had to treat them in the field to save their lives. Owen said they shouldn't have done a procedure in the back of an ambulance. He wanted the intern to learn from the paramedics. Not from Bailey doing surgery. Bailey said she treated her patient and that's all she cares about. She taught Quan not to wait with emergency care. She did run the residency program and so Quan was going to listen to her more than Owen. Bailey had a rough day by bad news and having to deliver it to Katie. They both ended up crying. Lucas walked away so that no one would see his own tears. Bailey would later apologize to Owen for riding roughshod over his commands. Addison also apologized to Amelia. Thankfully, Emma's surgery was a success. Amelia and Addison got to talking and they both realized they didn't want to change who they are to fit someone else. Addison was getting a divorce. Amelia was ending her sabbatical because she was not a baker. Wes and Simone butted heads on a case. She got the praise that he felt she stole from him. So, she reminded him that she was his boss. It's why they shouldn't blur lines at work. Wes now gets it. He stopped by her place after their shift and he gave her the stripper treatment. They had treated a stripper earlier in the day. The stripper had even told Wes that he has the body for it. And so Wes wanted to test it with Simone. He went full Magic Mike. Plus, there's good news. Quan found out Mohunty wasn't see anyone else. The meat order was from a couple of months ago. They agreed to sleep only with each other. And Jo, along with her 2 daughters, were released from the hospital tonight. Thanks for watching this videos. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.